welcome to another edition of the Sunday Soul Podcast. I am your host, Dr. Lisa Brewer, and I have a very special, longtime friend with me today. And I have to say that in working with her, she has opened my eyes and helped me understand this digital asset, crypto, all this stuff and the things that we think we can't understand. I have Miss Pam Fuller here with us today. Hi, Pam. How are you?
Hello, Dr. Brewer, Miss Lisa. I'm gonna just say Miss Lisa. I am so excited to be here to talk with you and just the audience about digital assets and cryptocurrencies. I will say it's my second love. It's my second love. Okay. So my first love was public health. It still is.
Wow.
So just for you all, my undergrad degree was in public health. My graduate degree is in public health. I went to Yale for, like I say, for those of you where that even matters. But it was my heart because my dad was a diabetic. I lost him to cancer, okay, stomach cancer,
Mm.
and he was only
Sorry.
54. And I've just lost a lot of family to chronic disease. And so that was my first love. That was my passion. And I've been very blessed, very grateful to have been able to do that and work in the community. I've been able to engage at a community level. I've been able to engage even with health insurance, directly working with insurance companies for several years,
Mm-hmm.
several cities, several employees to just help them understand insurance and how to not use it unless you really have to,
Mm-hmm.
and those sorts of things. That's my first love. My second love is blockchain technology. My second love is digital assets because they have changed my world. And I
Yes.
jumped into this, I would say July 2020, and I have not looked back since. And
Wow.
right now, I am taking a blockchain course with the Global Blockchain Institute. And actually, if you just search that, anybody can sign up. They've got scholarships for folks. They just believe this is not something people should have to pay thousands of dollars for. If
Mm-hmm.
you want to understand what Bitcoin is and all of these things, they are happy to share that with you.
Mm-hmm.
And they've got about an 8-week course that I'm actually taking right now as we speak.
That's amazing. That is
Yeah.
amazing. First of all, I am sorry for your loss. You've never told me that. Pam and I have known each other for over a year now.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
I never knew that your father passed. First of all, I never knew he was a diabetic, as mine was.
Mhm.
Mine passed away from the diabetes
Yes.
at 64 or 65.
Yeah.
But I had no idea your father passed away from cancer at 50. I was way too young, far too young. So I'm very sorry for your loss. Um, wow. So that passion of public health, and we're going to get right back into this because I feel like that ties it all in because you're not just interested just in the health of us as a people, right? Just in general, like we need to know more about how our physical bodies work and how to maintain them and how to stay healthy and, really respect the temple or the avatar, whichever one you want to say, but respect it, our vessel for being on this earth. But we also need to respect, understand, and be able to utilize properly the assets.
Yes. 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 Yes.
Uh, we say here, you've heard me say it, you believe it too, that money is energetic
Yes.
frequency. And to me, digital even feels more like a frequency in and of itself.
Real.
I'm going to ask you to explain what probably could be a very difficult, like,
Yeah.
okay, so if I'm just me, I hear about the Bitcoins and everything like that on a very high level. What's the difference really between a Bitcoin or an Ethereum or Dogecoin
Right.
and the dollar?
Right. 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 So I started a company, right, called Crypto for the Soul. And the premise of that is simply allowing people to be honest about one, their finances,
Mm.
right? Kind of some of that poverty consciousness that really reverberates across Black communities, why that exists. And then we get into a little bit of history. Because if you don't really understand the history of the dollar and how it came to be the world reserve currency as it exists now globally, it's a little bit more difficult to understand Bitcoin and the value, the pros and the cons when it comes to just cryptocurrency in general.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So jumping right into what you said, the US dollar about 1944 became the world reserve currency because of World War One and World War Two and those sorts of things that were going on, right? And at the time, our dollar was backed by gold,
Mm-hmm.
okay? Backed by gold. Hey, this $1 here, I've got some gold in the vault in the back
Mm-hmm.
that will back it up.
Right.
That's it, okay? At a very basic level. But in 1970s, Nixon took us off the gold standard. And
Mm-hmm.
you would say, well, why would Nixon do that? See, I'm a lot younger than you, but I understand the history of money enough to say, why would someone do that?
Mm-hmm.
We were amassing a little bit of debt, and the debt wasn't enough to have the gold to back it up. So globally, right, the powers that be at the time, Britain, right, other European countries, France, those types of things, they said, okay, we'll all go ahead and get off this gold standard. We'll keep the US dollar as a world reserve currency. Why? Because globally, when you're trying to sell petroleum, right, and oil, or when you're trying to go and exchange these commodities like precious metals or those types of things back and forth across countries, it's just easier, you all, to do it in one denomination. And it happened to be the US at the time because we had the gold to back it up. So when Nixon took us off the gold standard, it simply was saying, hey, have faith in this dollar, which is considered fiat. That's the term that is used, fiat
Mm-hmm.
currency. It's paper money that is
Mm-hmm.
just simply backed by a government and trust now, no longer a precious metal like gold. And
So
everyone
it's just
agreed
a hope and a wing and a prayer, basically, since the 70s. We just been on a hope and a wing
that
and a prayer.
that has happened. And it's not to say we don't have, the US doesn't have things to back up their money and that type
Lord
of
have
thing.
mercy.
It is just to say that now in 2022, a lot has changed.
Yes.
Okay. And when you overlay a pandemic and overlay these things like stimulus checks and money that gets handed out, well, what is it backed by now?
Right.
So from there, that's where the birth of Bitcoin
Right.
in 2008 came in.
Yes.
And people say, well, why did it even show up and come in? Well, Bitcoin was designed to be something that the governments couldn't touch. It was designed to be a currency, right? An exchange of value that no government could take away from anyone. That was the impetus of it. Since then, it has grown exponentially to where cryptocurrencies are actually a digital representation of something of value now. And it's a value because the community and the people say that it is, not the government. So it's a very almost libertarian way of thinking
Right.
at the end of the day.
So basically, digital currencies, digital assets are we the people deciding to stand up and say, we're going to choose what's valuable since the governments can play that game. We're going to play that
Right.
game too,
Yeah.
and we're going to use this in order to fund ourselves rather than depending upon a government or governments or the elites, if as some would say, to do that for us. Is that correct?
That was the impetus. That
Okay.
was that was the defining feature at that time.
Yeah.
We call that decentralization.
Yep.
If you've heard that term, decentralized just is generally means it's not issued by a central authority, rendering it theoretically immune to government interference or manipulation. That's what it was. That was the whole point back
That's
in
amazing.
2008.
But that's
And you can
absolutely
see
amazing.
it was 2008. And what happened in 2008 across the US that reverberated globally around the world?
The housing market crashed and we had a
The
recession.
crash. And that became the answer. So if anyone doesn't understand anything, it is that that was the reason why Bitcoin was created to begin with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So some people hearing this are not are well, I don't know. Some people hearing this might not have been quote unquote outside. In other words, old enough in 2008 to know what happened.
True.
Some of us of a certain age remember it vividly.
Yeah.
Um, but those of us that remember it, if we're paying attention to the signs and and listening to the winds, 2022, 2023, we're looking at a very similar, I would probably say 2022, looking at a very, we're being set up for the potentiality for that to happen again, right?
Yes.
So this is why I wanted to bring you on here because I know that you explain things in a very conscious, passionate, loving way, while also being like, okay, you have to get this.
Yes.
So for everybody listening, don't tune out now because you feel like, oh, I can't get this. You need to understand how finances work. We all need to understand how the financial system works and what alternatives we actually have at our disposal and why it is so important to keep governmental regulation out of digital assets. Now, I just said a whole lot right
You
there.
did. You
I
did.
said it though. She
Yeah,
didn't say that.
you
I said
did.
it.
Okay. So we'll back up just a little bit. The thing about cryptocurrency in general is that it being a digital representation of something of value, period, means that now it extends a little bit past Bitcoin because digital assets represent anything of value.
Yep.
So at Crypto for the Soul, we really break that down and what that means. So at a high level, there's meme coins, right? Which people they know all type of meme coins. You could say Shiba Inu, you could call Dogecoin maybe a meme coin or those types of things. And meme coins means, hey, people are kind of getting into it because they want to get rich quick. That's that negative misperception that it's kind of a gambling thing when you hear cryptocurrency. That's sometimes where a lot of that comes from. And that's what a lot of media likes to push and sort of trivialize Bitcoin or crypto in general.
Well, isn't it too because Elon, now I follow this. Elon likes to troll
He
when it
does.
comes to Dogecoin. Like
Yeah.
Dogecoin, he trolls. So that's also the meme, right? So I saw the Shiba Inu memes and we saw the
Yep.
Dogecoin memes. So that's for those of you like we're following along. It's the memes, that kind of like
Exactly.
cutesy funny, you know what I'm saying? That kind of stuff. Go ahead.
Right. Haha. Throw your money in this, and maybe it'll 10x, meaning your $10 will turn into 100.
Right.
10x, your $100 will turn into add that extra zero 1,000.
Yep.
Now here's the thing that did happen with quite a few people.
It sure did.
It happened with quite a few people, but and that's not bad. I will not even knock that. It's that don't let that overshadow though what crypto assets really can do for you and your family in
Yes.
general. Because for me, when I got into this, I was on my knees in prayer, literally saying, God, please help me. This is July 2020, you all, if you remember. What can I do with my finances at this point in time?
Hmm.
And when you ask a question, the answer is a lot of times going to be quite unconventional coming back at you. And
Yeah.
that's what it was.
Yes.
But at that point, I didn't have anything to lose.
Yes.
And I don't
Yes.
want anybody to be in a situation where I don't have anything to lose now. Okay, I'll go ahead and do it.
Yeah.
You see, that's where I was though. There was nothing to lose. I didn't have that much in my 401k. I had moved, all of these expenses.
Yep.
I had debt just like every other person has had debt. And the answer was very unconventional. I was not ready for it. I didn't even know really about Bitcoin and Ethereum
Right.
until 2020 and really digging in deep.
Right.
Not what you hear on the news and not what your friends told you.
Right.
What did you find out for yourself?
Right. Right.
So, government regulation, let me go back to that, will likely come. It just is what it is. However, we're not trying to illegally skirt things or not pay a tax and, this and that type of thing. It's just don't be scared of it by thinking that the regulation will stop it. I'm going to say it again because I see your face. Whether or not there's regulation tied to crypto
Mm-hmm.
isn't relevant at the end of the day. You should never let that stop you from getting yours for you and your family.
No, I wouldn't stop
Right?
me. First of all, the government didn't care about this until recently. It's been around for quite some time, long enough for them
Uh-huh.
to be able to see, oh, well, we need to regulate. No, it's because they can't control it. And I don't mean just your regular schmegular senator. Okay, I ain't talking about them folks. So, because they don't know not. Anyway, they're still playing around and doing alleged insider trading to get rich and still running for office for 25 terms. But that's a whole different story. Those folks don't necessarily know. Some of them might. But when I just some I can understand, maybe,
Right.
just not an overreach of regulation. Do I think, and of course I know that
Right.
there's always going to be a way
There's always a way.
that
Oh, yeah.
freedom and free thinkers are going to be able to do what they do.
And we get into that. Yep.
So
Down the line.
uh,
We
it will find a
definitely
way.
do.
But yeah, I just don't like overregulation. I'm very libertarian anyway. I don't like a lot of overregulation. Let me live, you live, as long as you ain't killing and hurt nobody. I'm cool. Let's all just. So anyway, let me not go off into that tangent.
Yeah.
You guys are going to have all the links for Crypto for the Soul in the show notes and in the YouTube channel notes and the description and Facebook description, everywhere we put this up. And I advise you, please, and we're going to talk about how you can work with Pam as we conclude, but we're not concluding just yet. I want to talk about some of these other assets too, because it's more than just, like you said, Bitcoin, Ethereum. There's more than just Dogecoin and Shiba Inu. Okay, there are a ton of different currencies. I mean, different assets or cryptocurrencies. There are things called that my son is into. These
Yep.
NFTs.
Yep. Non-fungible tokens. Yes, ma'am.
And I'm just like, these look like big old emojis and bitmojis, and
Yes.
some of
A
them are real
JPEG.
pretty.
A JPEG that somebody is paying tens of thousands, if not millions of dollars for. Yes. You want to talk about that a little?
Yeah, let's talk about that. And I mean, not that I guess when you think about it, people would pay millions of dollars for the Mona Lisa, and it's just a
That's
painting.
true.
Anyway, go ahead. What these NFT
So two
things?
things. So two things. If the thing is NFTs or non-fungible tokens, when something is non-fungible, that means it technically cannot be replicated. Yes, you can make a
Ooh.
copy, but the original can never be replicated. And so crypto assets and digital assets, really crypto just means a hidden message, right? and it uses cryptography, which is an encryption type of security that is immutable. It means you cannot change it. That is one of the things
Mm.
that makes crypto assets something of value when it comes to community collaboration and community value, because it's transparent. It is transparent. It is extremely secure. It creates more equality, regardless of whether or not that you have access to a bank. If you have a phone and some internet or some Wi-Fi, you have access to digital assets. That is what makes it so powerful. And I want people to understand, if not anything else, the whole onus is that this is transparent, it is easily transferable, and it is not, you cannot change it. And so when you have a non-fungible token or an NFT, that's the premise. You have the original of something, of that thing. And although, yeah, a person can make a copy, no, the value is derived from the value of that thing being yours. And if I want to share it, we can share it, and we can have something called fractional ownership,
Mm-hmm.
which is phenomenal. You can fractionally own property. You can fractionally own now a painting. If you can kind of see, bless you, dear, you
Thank
can
you.
kind of see how this can be expanded exponentially. Okay,
Generational wealth for
exactly. So
wow.
you can have something. So crypto assets are not just currency, it is something of value. So I have crypto assets that reflect actual gold. I have crypto assets that reflect artificial intelligence. The first thing people say is, well, which one do I pick? Well, I have crypto assets that reflect virtual real estate. I have crypto assets that reflect privacy coins. There's so much. And there's also assets that just reflect a dollar, 1 to 1. And you can generate tons of compound interest. I finally got my mother signed up for a actual crypto bank. It's called,
Nice.
yes, it's actually, I feature it on my website as part of my deals. And she put in about $5,000. Now you have to remember, my mom's 65. My dad passed away, so we're playing catch up for her. And
Yeah.
she gets about 9% interest compounding every
What?
single week on her $5,000. That's something that I cannot make up. That is something that I physically share and show the people that I work with how this
Uh,
happens.
I'm gonna need you to pause. I'm gonna need you to say that. Wow, how much per week for the kids in the back that may have missed it? Y'all sit up,
9%.
listen up. How much?
It's anywhere between 8.5% and 12%
A week,
a week.
not a month, y'all.
It's a
Not a
week, and it's
year.
compounding interest. And I have an account,
My God,
he's
today.
got an account, and these are the things that we show people. I could even share my screen to actually just
Oh,
give
let
you,
me
you
let
want
me
me to
hang
do
on one
that?
second. Let me make sure you can.
I think you all should just see this so that I'm not completely just making it up here. Can you all see this now?
Hold on. We're waiting for you to. Okay, gang. This is amazing. 8 to 9% a week is
Now, can
unheard
you
of.
all see my screen here?
We can't see it just yet.
Oh, okay. But while you're doing that, I will tell you that no one on CNN, MSNBC, or Fox, it doesn't matter your political affiliation. My soul just wants folks to understand, when you do your own research and you find this out for yourself, why would anybody tell you about it? Why would
Right.
anybody sit down and say, hey, baby, come on my lap and let me explain to you how you can have your money work for you while we have 7% inflation? And that's just what the Federal Reserve told you.
Oh, exactly. I
They
mean,
just
if you guys
run it.
pay attention to how much more you're paying for goods, for sure, at the grocery store, at the gas pump, than you were not that long ago, a year ago, a little less than a year ago,
Right,
um, you're paying about 10 to 15% more
right.
year over year for
Mhm.
everything.
For everything. And I know we hear, oh, well, it's a supply chain shortage and a squeeze. Well, that's just a variable amongst the myriad of
Yeah,
one of why
yeah,
things cost so much. So your money stays the same, but
right.
everything else costs more. How do you offset that? Well, stable coins, you might not care a lick about Bitcoin. That's fine. But I need people to understand digital assets are more than that. And a stable coin, it's just a one-to-one dollar or one-to-one of whatever your currency might be, right? A peso, Mexican peso, it does not matter. When you do that, you can still generate interest.
Hmm.
And I hear the audience saying, but why? Why would this be available to me now? And I say, well, that's a great question. Right now, your bank takes your money and they lend it out. You
They sure
might
do.
get 0.5% return. That's
Yep,
why when you go to the bank and if you try to get something like $5,000 or $10,000, you have to sit there and wait because they may or may not have that on hand in the vault,
exactly.
in the back vault.
Exactly.
So your money is getting lent out and the bank is reaping the benefits. When you work with a crypto bank, a legitimate, real, true one that is still licensed here in the US and abroad, they no longer take your money to lend it out and not give you some of the interest. That is it. It is a different way of thinking. It is a different way of living. And this is where we're going. And if somebody's going to finesse you out your bags, that's your business. But I would say give it a thought to look into it a bit more.
Well, if they listen, we have been finessed for less.
Yes,
Okay. So again, guys, the link, her website link is going to be down. It's going to be in the show notes. We're going to say it in a little bit, and you can find her on Instagram as well as at Crypto for the Soul. Okay. So she has these links to these crypto banks that are legitimate.
yes. We've
So
used them.
don't
I've been using it for over a year, well
right.
over a year now. I would
It,
not have my 65-year-old mama doing it. She just signed up last month.
right. She's not making any money off this, gang.
No, no,
Pam
no.
doesn't make any money off of this. So for
We
those
get a
of you
little
that
referral. That's about it. A little referral fee if you use our referral link.
right.
And that's it. There's nothing. I get like $50 in Bitcoin. The participant gets about $50 in Bitcoin. But
So at
here,
the end of the day, guys, I mean, what is that's not a thing. It's not a worry. It's not a concern. Now, for those of you guys that are on uh, YouTube are seeing a screen with the Celsius Network again. What I want y'all to do though is go to her website and click her referral link because you're getting this information from her. Okay, from her. Okay, go ahead. I'm going to shut up talking. Go ahead and tell us
no,
what we're looking at.
the last thing I want to point out, and this is really for our people who have not been able to get loans, small business loans, things that require you to have 700 credit score. Please, please, I pulled this up so you can see your collateral becomes your crypto asset, whether it's a stable coin, whether it's Bitcoin, it does not matter. The collateral is what you have. It is not, oh, here's my social score and I need 750 in order to get $10,000. That is an old archaic way of doing money. This, you can see, I just got my first loan. I do not have other things that I tell people to do until I do them myself. It is 0% interest. I put up some of my crypto. It is 0% interest for 12 months. I literally just put up like $1,000 or so in my crypto assets. It was actually less than that, you all. And I got half of it back in USD, right? Because I'm here in America and we use USD. It's not a credit check, friends. It's because that's my collateral, is myself. It is what I have on hand. Totally different way of doing things. Let me just stop sharing here for a second. I know that is a lot to unpack. It is a lot to digest when all of us, especially people of color, could not get loans from the bank. You
Right.
could not get things like that.
Right.
This is a whole new way of doing it. I have the 10,000, I have the 100,000, I have the 500. You can get loans off of your own collateral. Of course, yes, you have to have an ID,
Right.
but the
Right. Right.
credit check is out the window. It is not relevant if I have the asset as collateral already.
And that's how it used to be done.
Yes,
We're just
ma'am.
returning back to how it used to be done back in the
Yes,
day. There was
yes.
no such thing as a credit score, none of that jazz. It
No,
was what you got to put up. You need some liquid cash.
that's
Broop,
it.
broop. Just
That's
know
all.
that we're going to come get this if you can't
That's it.
pay. But it was a
That's it.
whole different situation. And there was like interest didn't really,
I
it
know.
didn't, it kind of was a thing, but not really a thing. I want to go back though, dear, because I want people to understand that they don't have to have $5,000 to put up for
No,
stable coins or anything like that. If you can, I would assume if I just got a smooth hundred, can
it's
I,
very.
can
Mhm.
I start there?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, you can start anywhere because compound interest, if you all know, it just means as you keep that $100 every week, you will get 8% on that $100.
Which is
Okay,
another $8. That
which is a
doesn't sound like a lot
right,
until you start leaving it there for a few, 4, 5, 6, 7 weeks.
right.
I
It does.
mean, because then it's so for those of you all that don't understand, she was reaching for something. Hold on. I got y'all. So I learned this. This is something else they don't teach you in school anymore, by the
No,
way.
no, 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 no finances are taught.
I
No,
learned about this in school, but
right.
they don't teach it anymore. My kids, I have to explain to my kids what compound interest is. I don't even know if they remember. So the first week for on $100, eight
Mhm.
percent of that is $8. Okay. So then that first week, then that next coming week, I have $108. And then if I then take that 108 and I put another 8% on top of the 108, this is compound.
Right,
Now we're up to 116.64
exactly. A
times
hundred
another 108, another 8%. Now I'm up to 125.97.
every week. This gets paid out. Okay,
Yep, every
it,
week.
it
So
is a
even
remarkable.
after 1, 2, 3, this is 4 weeks into it, I'm at 136, which
Yep.
means it's not going to take much longer for my 100 to become
Yes.
200. Because in fact, the next week it's 146. That's 5 weeks, 6 weeks. So I say in about 8 weeks' time, roughly, you will have doubled your $100 in
Yes.
2 months.
Not working, not going into work, not punching a clock, not doing anything except letting that money work for you. Because they because Celsius and other reputable crypto banks give it back to the customer.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
They do lend it out, but they don't do it as fees. That's
Yeah.
how you're winning. That's how you help beat inflation
Yes.
because the Federal Reserve chairman said it's at 7%. That's just what they're telling you.
Right.
If it's at 7%, oh my goodness, this is how you can help offset those things.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. And you could begin to take this. This is an easy way to start building it up. This is much better than a savings account, which,
Oh,
by the way, guys, I have to throw this in there because I was ticked off, upset, and mad when I read this because I knew what it was doing. A couple months back, maybe a little bit longer, banks were told that they no longer
yes,
had to actually have the money
yes,
to loan out.
yes. That is very true.
And they could touch people's savings accounts, if I'm not mistaken. In other words, all the money that you got in the bank right now, or any banks, they're playing with it overnight. They do something called they trade currency. There's currency trading that happens overnight, back and forth, back and forth. And so each bank makes its own amount of money. So if you wonder why you can't get an update on what's in your bank account until you think it's just because they waiting for a check to clear, that ain't the only
Oh,
reason. They got to finish their trading.
so that's called fractional reserve banking, where the
Go
Federal
ahead.
Reserve typically requires banks to hold 10% of their deposits in reserve. In March 2020, and this is what we learn when we have workshops. In March 2020, the reserve requirement was lowered to zero.
It's been that long?
March 2020,
Oh my
10% is
God.
not even required. It is zero.
Well, maybe they just didn't tell us till, because I know it wasn't that long ago that I read that, but they probably just didn't tell us. And then I seen it and I was like, I knew what that meant. Go
Let
ahead.
me emphasize this too. Everybody thinks their money is insured by FDIC.
Oh, Lord.
Oh, let's talk about that. So, FDIC, you can go to the website, is federal insurance that is designed to offset the bank if you have $250,000 or less in that account, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think everybody has heard that, and that is a belief that everyone has. What folks don't understand is when 2008 and 2009 hit and that financial bubble took place and the housing market fell apart,
Mm-hmm.
those banks got a bailout.
Mm-hmm. The
Okay.
banks did.
Now, what happened though is now there's something called a bail-in. That means if the bank does not have that on reserve, they can pull from your savings account because it is not a bank anymore. It is a financial institution. It is a lending institution. These are not all banks, just some. Your bank might be one of them, which means it ain't on the hook for FDIC. It is not a bank. It is a financial institution. It may be a lending institution. In Cyprus in 2013, I would encourage everybody, if you have not seen that story, it was real time. A bank bail-in happened right then and there. You could only get $100 out for several weeks at a time because the bank was going to crumble and they could take your money. It's called a bail-in, and they did it. And they did it in real time. And it has happened. History loves to repeat itself just with a little bit of a different flavor, right? And so that has happened. And it can happen again, conceivably now, to your point. So that goes back to FDIC, people thinking their money is insured. Your bank might not actually be one that is. It may be a bail-in bank where 10% will be skimmed off of everybody
My God, today.
that have an account there. It
My
is
God.
possible, but nobody's going to tell you until things hit the fan.
Okay. All right. We're going to have to dive into that another time. Okay. Listen. Because, see, there's a lot to, we can have these conversations. This is what I'm loving about doing this month, is there's so many conversations that are being started that we need to continue to have and not be afraid to have them. Okay. I want to touch on one more thing too. So now we're going to go to your website. Y'all going to go to her website. Right, and there's some various things that we can do. As I understand the stable coin and investing there, are you able to Yep, thank you. She's putting her website up on the screen for those of you that are listening. It is www.crypto, CRYPTO, FOR for the soul, SOUL. And
Man,
on the deals page, she
right.
has all. Now I'll let you go and explain it. Go ahead.
Oh, no, you're fine. So these are most of the exchanges that I've worked with since 2020. Okay. Um, I'll just point out, you all know crypto.com took over Staples Center. I am from Southern California, born and raised. I went to USC. Staples Center was iconic. Okay. But who goes to a Staples? Just let you know, things are disruptive. Things change. Is crypto.com arena. All right. Use that referral code. Okay. Once we do this more in depth, you're going to begin to understand that, hey, I don't want to necessarily keep all my money in one spot. And we teach people about wallets and how you can hold your assets. So something I want to emphasize is that I know a lot of my friends have their money maybe on Robinhood, or maybe
Mm,
you have some crypto on PayPal or on Venmo. Those are kind of like tier one crypto assets, because in order for you to get your fiat out and use it as dollars, right, you have to settle it as cash. You don't have the actual Bitcoin. You don't have the actual Dogecoin. Those are not your assets. We begin to talk about what crypto wallets are. That means I can now move my funds. See, some people get a little nervous about that. It's understandable, but we help teach folks, hey, you can actually use secure wallets. Some are digital wallets right on a phone. Other are wallets that are hard wallets. They are cold storage, like a thumb drive almost. And we teach people how to do that so that you don't have to be stuck settling your money. Most of these assets work on a market cycle. So they fluctuate. Yes, it's volatile, but they go up. And I will tell you, reputable crypto assets go up over time. We just say, when in doubt, zoom out. Look at the past 2 decades, or a little less, right? 2008 for Bitcoin, and we're in 2022. But look at that over a couple of decades. The growth is still exponential. It doesn't matter, oh, it dropped 20%. That's fine. It's still growing. And
right,
you can't say that about most other assets. Some
right.
stocks do that, but it is not at such an exponential rate
But this
as
is why you
Bitcoin.
diversify, right?
Yeah,
You put
got
yourself
to.
in some of these, the stable, right? Some of that, the Celsius type of situation where it's stable and you know you're going to get a steady growth. And then some of this you put into
Right.
some other coins,
Yeah.
right? So it's the same thing with the
Oh,
stock market. But this, I think, is a lot easier for us to understand.
I agree. This, you can say that again. Y'all, finances. Let me tell you a little secret. I went to school for public health. It has nothing to do with trading, nothing to do with finances, nothing to do with crypto, nothing to do with Forex and the foreign exchange, nothing. Global Blockchain Institute, if you wanted to just know it for yourself from an academic standpoint, I get it, because there's some people who are like that. I'm like that. But simply going to a reputable person, I'm not the only one. But when there are people who are really trying to honestly show you how to do it, they're trying to say unplug a little bit from the current system to diversify a, a bit more. And here's how you do it. And that's what we show people. And we show them, hey, once you get out of some of these layer ones of Robinhood and PayPal, then there's actual crypto exchanges. Now,
Yeah,
crypto exchanges themselves are still centralized, but there are wallets, though, that you can use that let you hold on to that. So, hey, I can at a moment's notice just take it with me.
right,
You don't gotta put a bag, have a safe bag and with a bunch of your gold coins in it, and
right,
what, a deed to some
right.
houses.
But guys, like, it's so I have my own wallet.
It's
This
very
is no
easy,
different. It's just
very
instead
easy.
of this being a wallet with credit cards that I don't need to have, uh, just saying, uh, it's just a different kind of wallet. It's the same thing, guys. So I wanted us to get a grasp on, we barely even touched the surface of the NFTs. Like that to me is a whole, like my son is 31 and all into it and he's buying, selling and did that. I'm gonna hold on to this one. And dude said he's gonna
Let
pay
me
me
tell you a
like
little bit more about
a
NFTs.
Bitcoin or two or something for it. I don't know, child.
So NFTs are designed to pay the creator of that thing. It could be
That piece of
music,
artwork or whatever it is.
that that artwork, that music, that video. It is designed to put the monetization back on the owner so that you don't have to have a middle person. Remember, that is the point of digital assets. I now don't have to have a middle person like a bank. I now don't have to have a record label. I now don't have to have a curator for my art. I am the person. You come directly to me and we can transact. That is what makes NFTs valuable in the space. But I'm going to caution folks. What happens is retail adoption is actually occurring. How do you get retail adoption? Retail meaning you and I, not the institution. How do you get people comfortable with this concept? Well, the NFTs are used to increase and encourage adoption, and it is not a bad thing. But there are a lot of NFTs that are out there that are kind of like meme coins, though.
Mm.
You got to be very careful with NFTs because in a moment, if everything fell apart, would I be able to sell an NFT? What NFTs will be used for, and I'm going to get a little esoteric here for a second, is think about things like an identity, a digital identity, a proof point to say, here is my medical record. Here's where I graduated from. Think of those things as non-fungible tokens that will be used and are already beginning to be used so that when you put it on a blockchain, remember, it cannot be it's transparent, but it can't be transmuted anymore. That means I cannot change that thing. Once it is on a blockchain, like an NFT, it is there permanently. It is a permanent record of that transaction. Now you can see the good, the bad, and the ugly with this. It's great because now I don't have to carry my license with me anymore. Doo-doo. Here's my digital identity, my NFT. It is more than art, friends. It is more than music. It is more than video. It is so exponentially bigger than this. Lisa, I see your face because it's true. And so there's two sides to everything here. We're not going
Wow.
to even talk about the metaverse.
No,
We
we're
won't
gonna
even get into that today.
no.
But just think, all of these things can be monetized now by the owner. I don't have to have a middle person so much anymore. That's not a bad thing. But now think about the other side where now my NFT is an ID. Now my NFT is a wallet where the US, I hate to tell you all this, you can go to the Federal Reserve website. Everybody has a Fed wallet already. Y'all just didn't know that. Everybody's got a federal wallet. Well, that's supposed to be easier for us to drop you your money so that you can spend it and you have a period of time to spend it, or then poof, it's gone. This is a deeper thing, but I just want everybody to know you can always use these to your advantage.
She done gone all into the mark of the beast revelations, and then now she know we finna get off this here line. Boy, I tell
But y'all, it's my love. This is my second love. And we are here at this moment in time because it is the internet on steroids.
yeah, it is.
We went from first industrial revolution being steam engines.
Yeah,
Second industrial revolution was assembly lines.
yeah.
Third industrial revolution is the internet of things. It is just the web. It's the internet. It is where we worked with static pages on Netscape, and we had Juno and email, and we had
Oh
to
my
dial up and get on the
God.
internet. But get ready, because the fourth industrial revolution is already here, and it is Web 3.0, where now we are more decentralized. I don't have to have Amazon Web Services as my cloud. My cloud can be a crypto cloud.
Mm-hmm.
It is decentralized now. I can now interact with my own community
Mm-hmm.
globally. I don't have to be here with
True.
YouTube that can pull down my video at a moment's notice.
Now
So
that's
there's good and bad when it comes to Web 3.0. It is now the internet of value, not the internet of things, it's the internet of value, where now we're reciprocating almost back to the old school of here I barter back and forth. But it's on a whole nother level.
everything that is old is new again. I mean, so it's
Yes,
just
that's
yeah,
it.
that's what I was saying, that with
That's
the
it.
loan thing, that's how we did it before.
Mhm.
There's liquid cash.
Yes,
You
ma'am.
need something of value. Okay,
I
this
want
is,
that thing.
we're gonna like, we're cool with
Yeah,
this. Cool. And you'll pay me this and you'll give me a little extra on top because I had it. Cool. And it was no big deal.
right.
So that's what's
This
old is new
is
again.
going
It's just
on
done in a different way.
right
So
now.
I'm gonna get up
Really?
off that mark of the beast thing, but that just freaked me out.
No.
And I'm gonna leave that there. Now to see my age is showing now because I'm like,
Kind of deep. But it is that. But those things meant for bad, we can turn to good. There's always two sides to
there
this
is.
coin, but I can just see it for what has been revealed now, right? So
Absolutely.
clearly for what I see now. So we have to have some people that can leverage this for the good and not just take this and stick people into a virtual world so that your body can be used for something different and something else.
Ooh,
We're not gonna
child.
get that deep.
The real
We're not
life
gonna get that
matrix.
deep.
The real life matrix. While y'all talking, the real life matrix. Y'all thought I was crazy. Okay.
Okay.
Girl, tell
Oh, thank you all. I love this stuff.
Oh,
I
this has
love
been
it.
so
I
much
love
fun.
it.
Pam, tell us again what your website address is again. It'll be down in the links will be in the
Okay.
descriptions and the show notes, but tell us again what your website address is, please.
You all, it's just crypto for the soul.
Awesome.
Crypto for the soul. Come join me on Instagram. Come on, sign up. I have a free 15 minutes. If you're just like, what is this digital
Yes.
asset thing? I can help with that. I do like to spend at least an hour or so with people. But you all can see that all on my website. It's just cryptoforthesoul.com. Lisa, I love this. I love that you're doing this. It's so important. Thank you so, so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much for being here. I so very much appreciate it. And, again, I feel like the Black edition is just going to have to continue past February because we are having amazing discussions and dropping some amazing wisdom and knowledge. So, everybody, do not walk to her website and go on and get yourself a 15-minute slot before she might have to shut them down for a hot second. But definitely interact with her, right? And she's going to drop a whole lot of knowledge. She's really going to help you through these things. And I trust her implicitly,
Oh,
absolutely implicitly. Pam, thank you. Thank you,
no,
thank you,
thank you
thank
so
you.
much.
All right. Thanks, dear. Everyone, peace, love, blessings, and joy be unto you today, tomorrow, and for all eternity. I love you guys. Namaste. Bye, gang.